Hello and welcome to episode 181 of DCP SideQuest.
Woo!
Huh? Huh?
Hola.
SideQuest time. Pretty good, Briar. Pretty good.
So I got a confession to make.
Yeah.
After our GCX stream, we went pretty hard. I felt like pretty hard on the
Oh.
GCX stream.
Yeah,
Mhm.
congrats. You guys crushed it.
We did. We raised 52,000
Yeah.
for the block. Which
kids.
you guys are incredible. If you showed up, thank you so much for showing up and
For real.
showing up hard.
Yeah. I ate 12 donuts during that stream, and then I had a physical the next morning. I had to go see the doctor.
Oh no!
What kind of plan was that?
It was a bad plan, is what it was.
What? It's just hard for
Oh.
me to fathom, like, knowingly. I mean,
Well,
you're like, ah, whatever.
I didn't realize. I didn't put two and two together when I
Yeah.
made the appointment,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And I didn't realize I had the appointment until Thursday. And then by the time it's Thursday and you got an appointment on Friday, it's like too late to cancel, right? They're
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
charge
Yeah.
you for the thing, and just my brain won't allow me to like get charged for something like that
Right. Oh, yeah.
and not
true.
go.
Yeah, I
So-
feel that. I'd still go.
I'm talking to the doctor and he's like, "How you been feeling?" I'm like, "Well, I don't feel that great today." He's like, "Oh, really? Are you sick?" I'm like, "No."
Mm,
I
well.
ate 12 donuts yesterday. He's like,
Yeah, I did have.
What are you doing?
And the beans.
And the jelly beans.
It's like I did have 6,000 calories and 500 grams of fat yesterday.
You say, but I
and,
was squatting.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was sweating while I was eating the donuts. So he took blood and he made me pee in a cup, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get some bad news from him. He's gonna
He's
be
gonna
like,
want you to come back.
"Yeah,
They're like, can you
you're
come back
that's
when
the
you
problem.
haven't eaten 12 donuts?
that's gonna be a tough
Maybe.
one, Doc." Yeah. So he poked me with the needle, and just like glazing came out instead of blood.
Yeah, exactly.
He enjoyed the story
Oh.
though.
Yeah, I mean it's not every day you hear.
don't
Well,
hear
I
that
was
every
doing a
day.
charity stream for St. Jude, and I had to do something silly, so I
Yeah.
thought I'll eat donuts.
I'll eat lots of donuts and do squats. I'll be honest with you. The hardest part of that stream was definitely those foul tasted jelly beans, though.
Oh, dude, I'm never doing that again. Jay got me with that.
You did that with Jay.
Yeah.
Jay did it to you too.
Yeah, I got
Oh.
bean boozled last year.
Being boozled.
Yeah. What'd you
Oh.
think, Fran? How was it for you?
Oh, they're way worse. It was hard to imagine that a joke jelly bean that's supposed to like taste bad was like actually like it's like eating rancid food and chewing on like dirty underwear, like for real.
It's like
Disgusting.
Survivor.
It's
It's-
bad.
Yeah, I was like, it's a jelly bean. It's clearly supposed to be a bit of a ha-ha. You got
It's
a
not a
gross
ha.
one.
Yeah.
It's not a ha-ha. It is
Uh-uh.
way worse than you could ever imagine. TV was
revolting.
there hugging a bucket because he thought he was gonna puke.
Yeah.
Lego went like completely white because he wasn't feeling good. Every time the rotten egg came,
Yeah.
I was like, every chew, I was like,
It was the bandage for me.
The Band-Aid.
The bandage
yeah,
was
disgusting.
the worst one
It's
for me.
really
It
bad.
was so foul.
Dude, it's awful too that they name them that way because the imagery just makes it all the worse.
Yeah. It was funny too because like the first 5 I ate, what they do is there's like I don't know 8 different colors in the box, and every color has 2 different flavors, so you don't know what you're gonna get. It could be like, oh, this is like a citrus flavor, or it could be puke. Like they look
Mhm.
identical.
yep.
It could
Yeah.
be strawberry, or it could be used bandage. Like you don't know. And like the first 5
I
I
never
got
got a good
were
one.
all delicious. They were all delicious. I'm like, oh, this is
Oh
this
wow.
is no
I
problem.
was like, Briar just bought jelly beans. That's what we all thought.
But little did I know that I was coming to the eventual stretch of time where they were all just going to be terrible because
Mhm.
I had eaten all the good ones right up front. It was awful. I hate them. I
It
hate
gets
Jay.
to the point where when a good one happened, I wasn't sure. I was like, shoot it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
because they're jelly beans too, right? So they're getting stuck in your teeth. So
Yeah.
if you've had like a really gross one, it's kind of hanging out for a little bit. Really bad. I would never do that again. It's genuinely like
No.
eating a dead carcass off the street.
I've done a
It
lot of
tastes the
dumb
same.
stuff for those charity
Disgusting.
streams, and that's the only thing I would just say no to. Like,
Exactly.
I mean,
I was like, dude, the good positive side is that the whole shoey thing. I was like, I would so do a shoey. I'd be happy to
yeah.
anytime.
Just give me anything to get this bean boozled flavor out of my mouth. It was awful.
And Jay does that for a week every day with the beans. I don't get it. He must have no taste buds or something.
Yeah, anytime he recommends a restaurant, just I would take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah, if we ever like, if I see him at TwitchCon, he's like, "Oh, I know a good restaurant." I'll be like, "No, you don't.
Do you?
No, you don't, Jay." Oh man,
Watts, you got a new piece of hardware you wanted to talk about. What do you got?
Wait.
Oh,
Okay,
Before you go, since last week was all
Brand's
about
got a
X,
bean.
it's super short.
Gonna give it to you.
I was, riding back after the gym yesterday, which I live very, relative. I mean, downtown San Francisco is not big, so I'm not far from Twitter. So I was riding by and took a photo, and then
I saw that.
It was it was kind of at night. The big Steel X. And I'm getting reports that it's being torn down today. So it's like I got one of the last photos
collector's
of it
item. You
standing.
should sell it like an NFT.
There you go.
I should make it.
Sell it to the Twitter bros.
I should make it my Twitter NFT as my icon because you can do that, right?
Yeah.
So that is a great idea, and I might have to do that.
The Elon stands would eat that up. That's an easy.
Are they tearing it
It
down?
is. It's a raw photo.
Are they tearing it down because of the flashing lights that were like?
Because it's so goddamn
making
bright.
people
Well,
like,
I'm
not
sure
be able to
none
sleep?
of it was zoned. It's probably a danger with earthquakes and
Are
all
you
that other
trying to
stuff.
tell me that Elon did not think this through fully?
It's not that he didn't think it through. He just doesn't care, man. When you're
doesn't
that
care.
rich,
Care.
it is like when you're that rich, you're like, I don't care. What's the worst thing that happen?
How do you get that rich, right? Like, in order to amass that amount of money, you're gonna have to sacrifice some human rights.
Yeah.
Here,
Wasn't he born rich?
Yeah.
He's like
from
he's
an
like,
emerald mine.
He's like white guy in South Africa rich.
Yeah.
Yes, from an emerald mine, and we know the mines are maybe not the most ethical of locations. But yeah, apparently the apartments that are right across from it, there's a lot of old people that live there.
Oh.
So because it's a rent controlled place, so like the old people they're
Really?
just staying there. So you can see it's just strobing more than a nightclub, really.
I mean, the thing with as bright as it is, like I saw that video of like the pan from the X to there was that one apartment, and but like that would hit tons of apartments. It's not just the one across. Like the way that's Market Street, and there's just like tons of stuff in that direction. Like you could probably live pretty far away, and you'd still see in the distance like the light pollution. So anyway, it was probably a very short-lived stunt. I'm sure they'll put up like a regular X up there at some point. But even like with earthquakes, I'm thinking like that was a little too close to the edge.
Yeah, it's gonna fall down.
Anyway.
And give people seizures.
Are you guys like thinking about moving to a different platform, or like Mastodon, or what was the one that Facebook started?
Threads.
Threads.
A lot of people did. Yeah, I mean, I'm on Threads.
Yeah.
I have a thing on all of them. It's just
I'm way on the like. I know how much people hate what is being done, the person behind it, like, and I totally support people who are like, screw it, I am out. However, I have like I have an attachment to it. I helped build it in a way, right? Like I wasn't part of Twitter, but we were all there in the same way that you were there on Twitch every day. And it's like, if something bad starts happening, I'm more of the like, I will stand by and keep like, keep the hope of like the more of the good stuff to keep it on the platform. And hopefully at some point, we turn a page. It hasn't even been a year. So I guess, I'm a little more optimistic that it's still at its core. It's still Twitter and their tweets, and it's hard to find that anywhere else. So until that changes,
just take a while, right?
It's
it could take
very
a while
hard to
of
build.
people starting to build up communities on different social media platforms, and then eventually maybe one of them's big enough that makes sense.
I don't post on it that much anyway. Mostly I use it to like check like what's like our DMs. Basically, it's almost more like text messages.
Oh, right.
Anything.
Yeah, well, that's
But
why.
every once in a while, like my wife will bring home like a 2-foot long cucumber. I'm like, oh, I really want to post about this.
All right.
Okay, Watts.
Yes,
Tech.
me hardware.
Yeah.
Yes. So I've been using a Go XLR mixer for a while now. It was like the first thing that was created specifically for like streamers, dual PC. It's super intuitive. You didn't need to be like an audio technician to set the thing up. It was great. And then, somewhat recently, the TC Helicon team, which is the people behind Go XLR, announced that they have essentially fired their entire Go XLR team.
Yeah.
So everyone is like, well, this thing is very software dependent, GoXLR is. So if you have this thing installed and it's not getting any updates, it could just be like one Windows update away from
From not working.
completely screwing it all over.
Not an option
And
for a
like,
streamer, right?
right, and I think it will be a while until the GoXLR is like having a lot of problems, but you do not want to be caught off guard with audio problems because, whoo, it takes a long time to set up audio. Oh boy,
If
even when it's
you
simple.
if you go into a room full of streamers and you want to break the ice, start talking about audio problems because everybody's
Yeah.
going to jump right in. Oh my
Everyone's
god!
gonna be like, oh, jeez. Yes, it's the
Remember that
worst.
Windows Update 2018 that just completely.
Yep. And that's what could
when-
happen, right? Windows
when-
updates do it anyway. So with something not being updated, there's no customer support, there's like no help, there's nothing. You're just out there in the Wild West with this piece of hardware praying.
Yeah,
That's when you call Tef, though.
Tef does not like
wait.
to give audio advice.
That's because he doesn't like what you've done at
That's
all.
probably
He's
true.
very disappointed, and he's not. He's like, well, I mean, I have hardware for that, so.
Yeah.
You're like, but this plugin, he's like, yeah, I would just use the hardware.
So the people who invented that device actually formed a different company, right? I can't remember what it's called though. Do you know what it's
I
called?
think it was Beacon.
Beacon.
I think
That's right.
Yeah, they're on the Beacon team. And Beacon does have a mixer that's kind of supposed to be a GoXLR equivalent. But when I was looking at all of them, I'm just like, I want something that is created in mind for people streaming with dual PC setups that's not going to be super difficult. And ideally for it to be more hardware than software, because there's just more problems with software.
Yeah.
So if it can do everything on the hardware, that would be ideal. So that's why I went with the Rodecaster Duo.
Yeah, and that's kind of neat because it can hook up to two PCs at the same time via USB, right?
Yeah, there's a USB-C, two USB-C on the back ports, and then you just hook up to your PC, either with USB-C or you can go USB-C to USB-A. However you want to do it, whatever your case provides you. But it's great. You just plug it in and then it starts picking it all up right away.
It just shows up in your your main as your inputs and your outputs in Windows.
Yeah.
Kind of audio.
Yeah,
settings.
there's gonna be like there's a little bit of fiddling, like because when you first set it up, everything is being sent everywhere. Your Discord audio's going everywhere. Your mic's everywhere. Your game's everywhere. So if I just jumped in here right away, you'd be able to hear each other. You'd be able to hear anything I do on any computer.
Right.
But that's pretty simple because you can just choose what is being sent to where via either like in the hardware itself because it's got a little screen that you can do everything on, or there is a software that you can download that you can do it on there. But they are like the exact same thing. So you actually don't need the software at all.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And
That's very cool.
it did take a long time to set it up. Took a little bit
When did you get it?
I got it like 2 weeks ago, and I've just been because Remnant. I've been streaming Remnant like every weekend, so there's really been no downtime where I'm like, we can spend some time to do this thing. So I've had it for a little bit, but then we're like, okay, let's just set it up. And setting it up and having things sound fine was not too bad. But then you have to set up OBS, make sure all of the audio is coming through OBS, make sure all the sounds are right. Like I don't want to be in OBS and have my sound all the way up and it barely be coming through. Having
Right.
to set up Discord and then trying to set up the PlayStation for it as well. Takes a little bit. Takes a little bit of time. Lots of wires, lots of tinkering.
I've been I still have one of them like big Yamaha mixing boards like
Oh.
with all the faders and the knobs, the twiddly knobs. I mean the thing is I would imagine like a foot wide and a foot and a half tall.
Yeah, you have
it's
like a
huge.
proper
Jeez.
mixer.
Yeah, it's a mixer. But like
Yeah.
I've wanted to get rid of this thing, but it's like, man, it works though. And I don't have
Right.
to think about it. Like it's just like
I would never touch it. I'd be
Yeah.
like, I'm keeping this big thing forever. I'm
Yeah.
never leaving.
like it's kind of messy and like there are a lot of knobs.
Yeah,
But,
but you've already
yeah.
got it set. But it's nice, man. Yeah, I mean, just like standard mixer hardware is nice, and yeah, it's unlikely to break if you're not moving it around a lot, which is really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm pretty happy with it so far. We'll see. I
I
haven't
would
done a
like
stream
one.
with it yet. We'll see how it goes. Could be terrible. Who knows?
It'll be
Um,
good. I like Rode a lot.
Yeah, they make good stuff.
Yeah, but this one's good. It's not too big. It's got four faders. It's got the option for 2 microphones and 2 headsets if you want that, but obviously you don't need to use that. So it's a nice little compact thing, and then you can have your virtual sliders and put that on a physical slider if you want to. Which I might do, like, say if I'm playing something like Final Fantasy 16 again, where I'm only playing PlayStation for like 2 weeks, I'll probably put the virtual slider onto one of the physical sliders. But even if I don't, there's a little knob, an analog knob that you can use to control any of the sliders. So what I've been doing at the moment is I have the physical sliders for the ones of like microphone, Discord, game PC, stream PC, and then for the virtual one, I just touch the knob and move it around because it just selects whichever one you last selected.
Mm,
So that makes it really easy.
that's nice.
So yeah.
Does it do like goofy effects for your voice and stuff?
You can set that up. Yeah. So there's sound effects and effects. I haven't looked into that at all, but there's like 6 little pads that you can press.
Mm-hmm.
Currently, there's nothing on it.
Put like an air
Yeah,
horn
you can
on
also
it.
program those pads.
Yeah, exactly.
Air horn.
You can put all that
First
stuff
thing
on there.
Briar's gonna do.
You can put an air horn on. And then there's little arrows so you can go between your different pads that you've set up, pad buttons.
Yeah.
So
sounds
we'll
pretty
see.
good.
But yeah,
Good stuff.
I like that it's hardware. Yeah, you're not really gonna need to rely on software for this thing, which is nice.
Yeah.
And it has an auto select for microphones. So if you have a microphone that is in there, you can select that that's the microphone you're using, and it will apply some processing on it that they recommend for that microphone, which is kind of cool. And then you can do of course, manual processing as well in there.
Well, that's slick.
Yeah, that part's really
And it's got a clock on it. That's right.
That's
You
dope.
can look at the
Actually,
time.
that's awesome. That's actually really awesome. I'm constantly glancing at my Windows clock, so
Yeah.
to have
Yeah, I
it
can
right
just
there in
look over
front of you.
there.
Anyway, that was a really smart addition.
It's nice that it has kind of profiles for the microphones because setting that stuff can be like,
Yeah.
it feels like the dark arts. Like you gotta
I love
pray
that
to
part.
Beelzebub to get that to work.
Yeah, I'm not touching it. Toma went in Discord to see what he could hear, like with my keyboard or his keyboard, him talking, and we're
Yeah.
like, that seems okay. So we're just gonna not touch it for now. Until I'm like, okay, everything's running smoothly. I've done a couple streams. It's nice. Then I'll start tinkering. So
I
make sure
have a
everything
window
works.
air conditioner in here, so and it's hot. You know, when you got like multiple computers and like game things that are just making heat, TVs and monitors. Like it just gets hot in
Lots.
here. So I always have to have some kind of like noise suppression. Otherwise, you just hear the air conditioner the whole time we're podcasting.
Yep.
Definitely.
Well, awesome.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Now I want one. Thanks, Watts.
Yeah, it seems like a pretty good alternative to the Go XLR in terms of like it's not totally plug and play, but you can plug in your computers. You don't need to do any like weird workarounds.
Yeah, I prefer it. I mean, again, there's like other features out there, but just like the basics of a nice hardware mixer that is a preamp for mics, multiple mics, even if you're going to do something remotely, but then having the built-in compression gate, etc. Like that is nice. Like I have an Adobe program open when I'm just for when I'm streaming. Like right now, my voice is not filtered, which I would love to actually give you that version. And the fact that you can do that is nice. But yeah, I've gone through 2 iterations of that Rode. Looking at the pre-order button, it's now on the Rode Podcaster 2, I think. And I still look at it a lot, so thanks. I would be thinking on it.
It's only $419 on sale.
That's it.
That's it. That's all.
Nice. Wish I.
Yeah, it seems pretty cool so far. You can see all your audio levels on the screen too.
That's neat.
Which is nice.
I like blinky flashy lights.
Just
there's blinky flashing lights.
stop it. Stop it.
Blinky
You could buy
flashing
that.
I have a tab
Or-
right now. Look at it.
I do too. Or
Stop it.
you could wait till 2024 and buy Nintendo's next generation console.
Great segue.
What's the audio like on that thing?
So I was just reading an article. This is from VGC. I think it's called Video Game Chronicle. Is that what VGC stands for? I don't know.
Yeah, I think it is.
I guess
But-
so, yeah.
They have a report that multiple people with knowledge of Nintendo's next generation console have kind of spilled the beans that it's expected during the second half of 2024.
Yeah, these reports are always like, I believe that, I guess, but like when the source is not like identified as some like, a source in Nintendo and or a hardware source, I'm always sort of like, and I'm sure you were going to read this part, but we already know that Nintendo told you that they won't be doing anything in this fiscal year, which ends in March 31st, 2024. So it's a 7-year-old console. Like, it is very likely that it will come out between April and December. I always have this conversation with my chat where I'm like, I'm going to tell you I got a source, and this is. But again, I'm not saying this about VGC. I'm just saying there have been so many reports for years now that it's going to be this year. You know? But I do truly believe that like by summer of next year, I think they'll launch with a Mario. It's time on that.
It is time.
And my dream would be they finally get a port ready of Zelda, like day and date. None of this like, well, we got it out, but Zelda's later. So
You think Tears of the Kingdom, or are you thinking a new Zelda game?
Oh no, Tears of the Kingdom. Like,
Okay.
sorry, a 1080p 60. Because I don't expect more than that, other than if they support NVIDIA.
I barely expect that, to be honest. I'm like 60 on a Nintendo.
They've got you trained to like your expectations are. Woo. But yeah, if they support, it'd be amazing if they had NVIDIA as a partner and DLSS 3 frame generation. Because that would be, they need that tech in there, and I hope honestly that's been the benefit of waiting so long.
Yeah, that would actually be pretty sick, because that technology also saves a lot of power, right? Because they don't have to get up to 60, they don't have to actually render those frames. They can kind of rely on that technology to generate them.
Yes.
I am so hyped. The rumor is, reading more into this article, the rumor is that there won't be an OLED screen, sadly. It'll go back to an LCD screen, in that it will accept physical games via a cartridge slot.
Makes Briar happy.
It does. But no word on backward compatibility, and I'd really like to see the next Switch be able to take. I'd like the Switch to, not that that's what they're going to call it, but I'd love it to be able to play Switch games, even if they're not upgraded, just so you don't have to keep multiple Switches on the charge stand ready to go.
Yep. Yeah, they're not great with that, and you tend to find Nintendo more in the later we're launching an emulator store for Switch as part of our Nintendo Online program. It's like they're not great with that, and they've gotten away with it though, so that's
they
why
used to be
there's
so
not
good
necessarily
about it. Like the Game Boy Advance had a Game Boy, could play Game Boy games. Even the first DS could play Game Boy Advance games, right?
I think so.
The first DS?
I don't know. I don't know.
I think it could.
All I remember is the Game Boy Color. If you put like a non-color thing into the Game Boy Color, you could change which color it was.
That's right.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Maybe. Are you thinking of like Game Boy Advance and SP maybe, and like?
No, I'm thinking of the DS.
I could be totally wrong.
I think it had a cartridge.
It's funny because I was
Advance.
there. One of the probably first hands-on at E3 or something. I was like, I have no recollection of the exact.
I don't know. I'm looking forward to seeing whatever this is. I hope that they go back to a normal D-pad, because Nintendo used to make the best D-pads in the world, and now they make bad ones.
D-bads.
D-pad.
But yeah, I only play my Switch for Nintendo games and when I'm traveling. So
I almost always play it just for third-party games, but they're all kind of retro in
Yeah.
Like
in
comfy
style.
games almost.
Yeah,
and I don't know. I guess here's a good question for you all. Do you really just want like a Switch 2? Do you want pretty much the same form factor, portability, and how does the dock work? Like, what would you look for in an ideal world? But also, what do you expect Nintendo to do?
More power.
Because the rumor didn't say
life.
much more beyond it would be portable as well.
Yeah.
And maybe an LCD screen, but I don't think it said exclusively one thing or another.
I'd like more power, more battery life. I'd also like them to really work on households that have multiple Switches and how that works. Because we have a bunch of them in this house, and some of them belong. I have a couple of them. My kids also have some. Even my wife has one, and it's changing profiles and getting people's profiles on and off so that they can play on whichever.
Oh, like cloud-based users for
that is all just a real pain in the ass. It feels so archaic, and my kids really like to play on the Switch Lite, they actually prefer it over like the full size Switch because it's it's smaller, it's lighter. But when they want to play on a TV, obviously they switch over to like a normal size Switch.
I want the beefy boy.
But they want to save their progress.
Right.
So it's like
that's a
it's
good point.
always
You
a pain
can't
in
just
the
put
neck.
everything in the cloud and just switch over.
Yeah, but
yeah, that is super lame.
With that system in particular, like this is kind of a problem on the
Cross
PlayStation
save,
2.
Nintendo. Cross save for everything.
Yeah, but like just make it easier to move your profile around.
That's a really good point. That I haven't had to think about that, but yeah, like that is the type of thing that Nintendo would normally care about as well. But whether or not they're willing to spend the resources and like if if they don't hear about that as a problem enough, they're unless it just happens to be on their minds, it may not happen. But it sounds like that would be a great feature.
Yeah, that'd be super nice.
Yeah, for me, I think the dock power is the most important part for me. I definitely, when I get on a smaller screen, I care less if it's even if it was, I don't want this, but let's say it was still like a 720p, but it runs at 60, kind of with a little better fidelity than Switch today. Like that's what they do. And like, I don't want that, but I'd care less about that scenario because like battery life and all the heat and everything that goes into like making a good portable, and Switch was solid for that reason. But when I plug it into the dock, I want that pro power. I want 1080p 60. Wouldn't it also be nice if it had, DLSS type features that it also supported like
upscale to 4K.
A 4K upscale. And again, like that's a big swing for maybe the fidelity that it would be coming from. But yeah, even just like a really sharp, solution for if you're playing on a big TV. They really need in the dock though, and maybe also like finally bridge that where they have out the gate say, well, there's your standard model and like a pro model because people do care, and like open the market up and say how many people care, because I feel like we're in the situation that Nintendo tells you, well, we sold 100 million of these, so yeah, you don't really care. And I'm like, yeah, but I do. I only have that thing sitting over there because of Zelda, Pikmin 4, Mario, and a couple other things. Like that's how good your games are. And over a lifespan, I end up getting those 5 to 10, and it's worth it to me. But I'm paying, a lot for that. But the point is, I would have paid more for a Pro Edition. So I don't want to wait and hope 5 years later that might happen, and it never did for Switch. But
yeah,
something
the rumors
like that.
Are so strong.
Yeah, they don't.
I don't want them to turn it into a Steam Deck though, because we already have a Steam Deck. So like
we do have a Steam Deck,
and that's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah.
I'm fine with a lower expectation. Handheld, that's me personally. Like the battery life and everything that goes along with that, the heat, etc., so important. But I play plugged in, and so I feel like I'm on the other side of it. I'm like, but I don't use it at all really, other than when I go on a plane, which is nice. But 90% of the time it's plugged in. So yeah, why doesn't Tears of the Kingdom have a solution to run at 60 frames a second built in? Like PCs do this every day. Nintendo owns the hardware, the software. They own the whole pipeline. Like surely they could build in a solution in their engines and say, look, you've got you're always coding for the handheld base, but then we want you to hit this target for this docked version.
Yeah, they can like just say, okay, it sips power when it's on battery, but like when it's docked, we're going full 100 watts. Like this thing is going to sound like a jet engine.
5,000 watts.
Yeah,
but
I'd be very happy if it being docked, it could do cool things.
Yeah. But again, just to make clear, I'm not saying that it should be more expensive and that should be the standard. I'm biased. I would love that if that's, it's more expensive and the dock is awesome. I don't even have to think about a pro version. But worst case scenario, at least give us, the enthusiasts, the option to show you that we will pay the extra $100, whatever it's going to be, to do that. So. What about Pro controllers for these? Do we need a new Nintendo Switch Pro controller?
I just use my Scuf controller.
Ayo.
I'm not use whatever controller I want.
I'm not sponsored, but I've been using the 8BitDo controllers for almost everything at this point. They're like $50. Good. They got the back paddles. They're shaped like you can buy one that's shaped like a PlayStation controller or shaped like an Xbox controller. They got like every feature I want. The only thing they don't do is work on a PlayStation, so I have to still use a PlayStation controller on PlayStation. But
And then if
They
you
work on
have like
Xbox,
your
PC.
favorite controller, if you got like an Elite or you got the new PlayStation 5 official one, you can use the 8-bit do again with the little
Little
dongle that
dongle.
you put
Yeah,
in there.
that's
And
true.
then you can use any controller you want.
Yeah.
So,
I actually just got another arcade stick in the mail from 8-bit do,
oh,
and it's the first one I've gotten for the
Nice.
Xbox.
nice.
Yeah.
Using a stick, unbelievable, Briar. You're not using
Leverless.
the thingamabbobs.
I like
Your hands-free controller.
I like to waggle that
Yeah,
stick around a little bit.
I guess it's more similar to a keyboard, the other one, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's
The
just
keyboard.
yeah. It's
I
like
mean,
having
man.
the sad W keys.
Sad W keys. That's the only way I play is sad W.
I was actually looking at rumors. The PlayStation 4, I'm sorry, PlayStation 5 Pro. Those rumors just won't die. Like
They're never gonna die. They're gonna. It's like Bloodborne.
Yeah.
so
The people, every single Sony conference, they're like, "Ooh, Bloodborne remaster, Bloodborne 2."
that
Every
one
single
seems to be like just hopes and wishes though, like fueled by like the dreams of people who just want it.
time.
But this, the same guy who broke the story about that little PlayStation 5 handheld just said, well, like this is coming. Get used to the idea. Which is, I don't know. It seems crazy to me. Like
Yeah,
the PlayStation 5 just seems too new to get this, but I mean, it is 3 years
Well,
old.
I mean, yeah. And I was gonna say the Slim rumors. Right, I don't think that's been confirmed still, right? But it's been all but confirmed that Slim is coming at the end of the year. Those rumors seem very credible and very obvious as well. PlayStation 4 released, I think, in 2014. 2 years later, only actually, I think it was 20, was it? But it was like a couple years later that the Slim came, but the Pro also came out. Oh, no, it was 2013. That's what I had wrong. Yeah, 2013 was the original release, but 3 years later. So there you go, same exact track. That's how a lot of these companies work. So it makes perfect sense that the Slim would be out. We know Sony wants to release the Q as well. Remember that Wi-Fi tied sort of in your home solution to like a handheld type Switch thingy. But the Pro came out a couple months after the Slim. So
Did it really? It was that quick?
apparently, yeah. I was double checking that right now. I was like, yeah, you know what? It did.
I was so
So-
excited for the Pro for the PlayStation 4, but I'm so not excited about it for the PlayStation 5. Like I don't know why. Like
I'm happy with my original PS5 with the big vents, so it doesn't overheat.
yeah.
I'm happy.
I definitely think that there's a case to be made though on the Pro side of like people are still getting a hold of the hardware.
Yeah.
That there's a lot of room. So there's two sides though. Like there's an argument to be like, well, like look, people are still like getting a handle on the PS5, and install base is taking a while to grow, but it's taken off quite a bit recently. However, I would argue as well that games like Final Fantasy 16 show that the hardware is under-delivering in terms of like whatever's going on, that like they just couldn't hit a performance mode across the board for something like Final Fantasy 16, and that's a huge problem for I think enthusiasts in the brand, but you saw like a lot of people were confused by like the motion blur and like all that stuff, and that's not a good look. So
I don't buy
it
that
could be
really. Because if you give Square a PlayStation 5 Pro, they're still gonna try and hit like this huge fidelity target and still come up short of 60 FPS.
I mean, that happens. You're right. It happens all the time, and you could point to so many times that it's happened. But I do think that if you look at the hardware, like again, it's 3 years old. Was it released? I'd have to go back and look, but you're probably talking a 5-year-old. Even though the architecture was newer, still probably like a 5-year-old kind of G-flops rating or whatever it is.
Yeah,
right?
it's like
So,
equivalent to like a GTX 1070, which is pretty old at this point.
Is that actually factual? Like, is that one of
Yeah, I
the
believe
ones
so.
they compare to?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty old. I mean, that's quite old. That's like
Yeah.
probably like 7 years old. So but to that point, right? If they're going to release one now, drop the price, because they also sometimes drop the prices here at this point, right? So
Yeah.
$50 cheaper for this, 100 more for that. But getting that out the door now could be, the right time. And then you'd only be, say, 3 or 4 years behind in terms of the architecture. Would it be what, a 2070 or something? I don't know. So, and we all know they're on AMD, chat. I'm sure there's some people out there like, wow, it's AMD. Yeah. But just to set the time.
Yeah. I don't know. For this one just feels like
I'm down for it.
Like there hasn't been that many games that were even made for it yet. Like most of the games I've been playing
Yeah.
are like kind of cross-platform between that and PlayStation 4 still. So it's like to be thinking about a pro version just seems, I don't know. This console generation is so messed up because of like COVID and nobody could get them, and like it just seemed like it started so slowly.
Yeah. But hardware, I mean, I think all your points are super valid, but I think at the end of the day, it's irrelevant to the fact of like, Moore's law and like, just the growth of hardware. Like it is what it is, but
Yeah.
it's underpowered.
Yeah.
Facts. And everybody's trying to pull too many rabbits out of the hat at once. I don't know why I said that, but I just love that idea as a graphical metaphor.
I do too.
I literally have never read that. I was like, that's great.
That's great.
But anyway, everybody's always going to do that. And so we need to get to the point where yeah, like we can just see like better hardware. So I'm down. I don't want to spend and go out and feel that pressure, but I definitely would love to. And maybe you look forward.
Fine.
Look forward to a game like yeah, steal one. Look forward to a game like Spider-Man. Let's pick 2 games, but let's pick Spider-Man 2, which is unlikely going to run beyond 30 in terms of it won't for the really nice frame rate of the ray traced version.
Yeah.
Or sorry, the really nice ray traced version. But that, man, it looks so gorgeous playing Miles Morales on PS5 with full ray tracing that I was willing to play it at 30. But even if I could get that much power at 45 or 60, man, I'd be so happy. But then yeah, like actually, I guess we don't know what's coming out next year for PlayStation yet, other than Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, huh?
I'm all over that.
Sure, there's something else,
Can't
but
wait.
actually, maybe it's just Elden Ring. Like same thing. Like boom, I want a Pro Edition on PlayStation 5 Pro that runs super silky smooth at 60. So to me, there's so many games that can benefit from this as well as the remake stuff, and I'm down.
I hope it's not a situation where the games have to be like gone through again to get them to take advantage of the Pro. Like for instance, Bloodborne never getting a patch to take advantage of the Pro.
Take advantage of anything. It just doesn't exist anymore. That game's got to be in a remake state at this point.
I hope
that would be the biggest just flop in terms of like or biggest miss if they've all this time just didn't port Bloodborne. There's no reason, right? Like they would have sold like 3 million copies of like a standard port. That's free money. So they've got to be making a remake, but
yeah, I hope so.
Anyway.
I hope that same company that did Demon Souls is doing it too.
Blue whatever. Dang.
So they released a new character for Street Fighter 5. 6?
They
Which,
did.
6. Sorry.
Yep.
Rashid. He was also in Street Fighter 5. I've been playing around with him a little bit. He's a lot of fun. He does a lot of like he's the god. He calls himself, I think, like the god of wind or something like that. He's got air
He's
power.
a windy fella.
Windy fella. Yes, he's got a lot of gas going on. I've been getting used to him though, and I've been having a lot of fun with him. I think the pros, like the people who are about to go to Evo, I think Evo's next weekend, the biggest fighting tournament, are actually pretty upset that this guy got dropped like 2 weeks before the biggest tournament in the in the world.
Yeah. That makes sense.
And he's like powerful. He's good, which makes sense if you're gonna put a new character in. You want him to be good. Like you don't want to put a dud in, right?
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's rough to have to feel the pressure of that homework because you might get completely outclassed if you don't invest the time. So instead of refining your skills on your core characters, now you're spending time like, well, I better see if this character's OP. Yeah, that actually really sucks.
At least know what he can do so you can defend against it, right?
I mean, it is a tournament though, right? So if it's really a problem, can't Evo just be like, we're not going to allow any of that? We think it was too soon, too much pressure. Like, don't they have regulations for this?
So this year,
that's a week out.
This year, Capcom made that big Capcom Cup prize pool, and Evo is part of that. So I think they're just going by Capcom's rules for like the Capcom Cup. because you got to like, I think you got to get like points like for every tournament during the year to like qualify for Capcom Cup and all that. I'm not exactly sure how that works. I'll come back to you with more information.
Yeah, but like if it's really a problem, you'd think they would do that. But yeah, maybe that plays into it.
Yeah, because there's like the winner of the Capcom Cup this year. I think it's $1 million. Like,
yeah, it's the first time it's been
like $1
that
million, right?
amount of money
Yeah.
for Street Fighter.
So that's big. And that's like you got to qualify for that by like doing well in other tournaments. And I think Evo is the first big one that you can qualify for Capcom Cup with. But Evo is always fun to watch. Do you guys ever watch tournaments like that online for fighting games or any other game?
I do. Yeah. No, I think it's always fun to watch.
Yeah.
I never really have time.
No.
I'm always moving around. I'm either playing games and streaming and or like trying to get outside when I have any free time, so it's harder.
Yeah.
And then yeah, like I think the problem is like I would put it on for background noise, but I feel like I gotta watch it. So in other words, if I'm like doing the dishes, like what's good is listening to like a fighting tournament. You know what I mean? Unless you really know it, in which case, yeah, you could totally just listen in.
That's what I do is I leave it on as kind of background noise. I either put it like I'll carry around an iPad with me for like the weekend. And like when the games I want to watch are on, like I'll kind of maybe I'll sit down and watch a little more. A lot of the time I'll be actually playing that game while I'm watching. And then like when one of my favorite players comes on, like I'll stop playing so that I can watch that. And then I don't really watch intensely until probably the top 16 of a tournament when it's like on Sunday night and like the chips are on the table and it's go time. Like those stories can be pretty intense and I really like them. But like when they're doing like pools, there's like I think there's 10,000 people that entered this tournament.
There's a lot of people going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
A
is
lot
cool.
of people going.
Very cool.
It is very cool. It's cool to see the fighting games being pushed to, where other esports have been instead of being kind of this underground.
Yeah.
I mean, Evo's never been underground, but compared to like, Dota and League of Legends and all these other big esports, it's definitely not as.
No, it's definitely not as big as that.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. Sometimes I will have something like that on while I'm driving. Just kind of on my phone,
like
sitting
a
in a
little
little
podcast.
holder. The video's going.
I'll listen to stuff. I'll listen to stuff. I will usually have like a stream on in the car, and I'm mostly just listening. And then if I'm in the lights, I'll take a look.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have to look at the road all the time.
Oh my god.
But
Did you guys happen to see any of the gameplay that came out for like Armored Core 6?
Yes.
People were able to talk about their impressions and show some gameplay.
Yeah, people are kind of mixed feelings on this thing, huh?
Kind of mixed on the beginning, yeah. So there's a couple people that were like, "It's just incredible," and then Fallout. I was looking at Fallout on Twitch. Not Fallout. He has not played Armored Core 6. I'd be mad at him if he
Shame
did.
on
Why
you,
you and not
Why
me,
not,
Fallout? God damn it!
What are you doing?
I was talking about a skill up. He played, and they said they played for about 4 hours. And it wasn't really selling him as hard as like other FromSoft games in that period of time. It seemed he called it a slow burn. He said that, it wasn't as wow, look at this world and oh, look at this thing, but it wasn't quite clicking right away, pretty much. It's like some of the missions were like epic and awesome and super fun and cool, and then some of them were like I go and kill a couple rank and file dudes and then I'm done. But that is very Armored Core. That's very Armored Core to like have these smaller missions to kind of do a small contract and get beefed up ready to make your mech better for the bigger fights.
Yeah, it's not like it's an open world game, and you got to set your expectations. And Armored Core also, it's not like it was one of the biggest franchises in gaming, but it was beloved. And so to have a mech battler come back and still be true to its roots, and like, I mean, I think that's great. I just think, people need to set their expectations. It's not like the next epic from Software. It's not meant to be that. They know that, and of course, it's only got so much development time and budget. But it is, remember, I think it was the lead combat designer, right? Is the director. The lead combat designer from Sekiro is the director.
Yeah.
So it's got. That's one thing that excited me is it's infused some of those learnings from that team. So I think it'll be exciting, but again, it's a mech battler. Like if you never got into that or can't imagine yourself getting into like building this multi-part armored core and getting super into all those like RPG details, then it may not be for you. It's not
Yeah.
Elden Ring, you
If
shouldn't
anything,
think
it's
it is.
like even more RPG than like Dark Souls and Elden Ring. It's like very intricate with changing your mech, both visually, just for how it looks, and changing
Yeah.
all of the different stats on it. There's a lot there. There's a lot.
Yeah, I think it's going to be exactly like you were kind of getting at that, but it's not about like the size of the world and the length of the missions. It's about this depth of building your armored core and like,
Yeah.
it's like watching the demo. It seems like it's got a lot of depth and a lot of different play styles.
Yeah.
So, as
Yeah.
From Software is very good at, that's going to be exciting to see, the many ways you can play it.
I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah, I like
I'm
mech
looking forward to
games.
jumping in.
I like
and,
customizing mechs and putting graphics on them and putting different guns on them and like trying to like figure out like how much cooldown time and how many how long I've got before I overheat one of these weapons. Like that's all fun. That's cool. And this is I used to play the Mech Warrior games, which are way slower, like plotting.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait to get into these fast Armored Core mechs. This looks like hella fun. I can't
Armored
wait.
Core's kind of done a bit of both throughout their time, and this seems like it's kind of right in the middle, being like really, really, really fast, crazy fast, and like a
Yeah.
little slow. It seems like it's in a good spot, so I'm looking forward to it. Lots of dipping and dodging around.
Yeah.
And lots of verticality, which is very different to other, FromSoft games that we've known and loved. I mean, the jump button in Sekiro like changed the game completely. So it's gonna be very different. And I hope people go in, not expecting that, because it's definitely an Armored Core game.
Yeah, this could be one to like
Really.
wait for like one of your favorite reviewers to like get their hands on it and get through it, and then maybe buy it after that. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a quick correction, it's the lead designer from Sekiro, not even just the combat, but the lead designer that is directing it. So, yeah, either way, it's exciting to see
It's
the
exciting.
franchise come
Yeah.
back. And I love the style of it, but it's still very true to its roots, to put it simply.
Yeah, we're getting an Armored Core, and
Looks
then we're
like
getting
Armored Core to
Elden
me.
Ring DLC. So we're getting, you're getting both. At some point, you're gonna have both people, both fan bases that are happy, because you got the Armored Core, and then you've got the Elden Ring DLC coming, and then I
What ab-
assume another kind of Dark Soulsy-esque game at some
What
point.
about Sekiro 2?
That's what I want.
Yeah.
I would like that very much.
if we get Sekiro 2 before Bloodborne 2, I'm gonna be upsetty spaghetti.
At this point,
Sekiro didn't even get any DLC. It got nothing.
it
Made me
gave up.
sad. I was like, oh, it's gonna get DLC, right? Dark Souls 2 through 3, all of them have DLC. Bloodborne's got DLC. Nope, never
I
happened.
wonder if Activision has like a first right of refusal for Sekiro 2, and therefore, if the buyout goes through, if it would be an exclusive Xbox game.
Oh man,
Is
can
that
you imagine?
possible?
That could be right.
It's possible. It may be,
Yeah, maybe.
because they might have had something in, or I think, I forget who owns that franchise, whether it's Activision or not.
Yeah, I think
But
they were
anyway.
just publishing it in the West. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know how that would work. We'll see.
Oh, did they only do the West? Well, yeah, I might have that wrong. I thought it was in full with them. But either way, we need another Sekiro 2.
We do.
What was that old mech game that came out for the Xbox that had like the giant controller with like the
Oh,
2 joysticks?
it was funny. GameSpot has an article on this that they published last year. Will Microsoft now own Sekiro? And
Interesting.
they said when it comes to Sekiro, the copyright for the game remains with From Software, not Activision.
Oh, there you go.
So, thanks, GameSpot.
Steel Battalion. Thank you,
Um,
V6. Steel Battalion. It was a cool game.
Another
Yeah,
thing
oh, man.
that came out gameplay wise, which I'm wondering if you guys had saw. It was 18 minutes of Lords of the Fallen gameplay.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
this. What is Lords of the
Visually,
You just throw it up in the background. So Lords of the Fallen came out in 2014, the original one of the very first kind of Souls likes that's not from FromSoft. And some people enjoyed it, but it was pretty clunky and a little awkward to control. So it didn't really catch on. And then Lords of the Fallen is being remade in Unreal Engine 5, and it's gone through multiple different development studios. So the people that are currently working on Lords of the Fallen, I think this is their first game, and they took over with the development. It's been
Yeah,
it's
it's
been a
not-
weird development.
the
Wait.
past team was the Surge. They went on to do Surge and
Yes,
Surge
they
2
did
and all
Surge.
that.
Oh,
So
Yeah.
that's
okay.
totally. They don't have anything to do with this. And
No.
again, and to be clear too, it's like it's the franchise remade. It's not like a remake of the
Yes.
first game.
Yes.
This looks
Yes.
sick.
So it's just like a brand new Unreal Engine 5, clearly
Yes,
inspired
yeah.
by Bloodborne and
Clearly.
Demon's Souls and
Yeah,
Elden Ring.
it's so I'm looking forward to the game because I'll generally check out any Souls like that happens. The gameplay though did get me a little concerned about how it's gonna feel combat wise.
Yeah.
Because the melee, when he was hitting them with the melee, it was just like squitch, 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 squitch. There was like no impact. There was no heaviness to the melee. It sounded like
Mm.
it reminded me actually of old school Mortal Kombat. Like really old school with like the squishy slaps and some of the animation
slaps.
work. So it's weird. It's a bit weird. There were parts of it that I was like, this is really impressive because I think visually it is very impressive,
It's
and they're also
pretty.
doing this thing where there's two worlds at once. So you
Yeah.
can hold up a lantern and see the world of the dead, and you can go in there. And I think that mechanic sounds really, really, really cool. And the armor so far looks great. So I think all of that is looking great. The boss fight animations look really good too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the sound, the audio, and some of the animations on the actual character were a bit like, what's going on there?
Does this
I
have a
agree.
release
It's
date?
Yes,
Yeah, it's like
October 13th.
Oh, so it's right around the corner.
I mean, everything's coming. Isn't Lies of P like the week before that? No, Lies of September.
It's September, yeah.
Yeah, so you've got, I mean, you're screwed. You got 30 days, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your summer if you're here in our hemisphere. But yeah, like Starfield, Lies of P, Mortal Kombat, Spider-Man 2, Alan Wake 2, like that's just in a couple months. That's not even including all the other stuff. By the way, yeah, that's right. Call of Duty 2023 is set to have a reveal in Warzone, they confirmed. So you're gonna have to go play Warzone if you want to see what the new game is. But tons of stuff still coming.
And another thing with Lords of the Fallen as well, like, so I think this is going to be a thing with Unreal Engine 5 games. Some of them a lot of them tend to have this very like shiny, pristine, clean look to the graphics. And I think in a game like Lords of the Fallen, where it is like pretty gritty and bloody and muddy and stuff, you maybe want to bring down the like clean shininess
Yeah.
that comes with Unreal Engine 5 and kind of muddy it up a little bit.
Yeah, this looks good, I think.
Visually,
Yeah,
it looks great. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
really beautiful looking game.
Yeah, I mean, it's on Unreal Engine 5, so yeah, like to your point, it's hard not to look good if they can get a hold of that engine, which seems really powerful. But yeah, like ultimately the feel is going to be one of the most, or the most important part for those games. And I couldn't tell either by watching it. Like, and yeah, like the audio, it's unfinished technically, we'll see how much changes. But like, I had the same feeling like, was that the audio making it like seem like they went through the enemy more so than connecting and colliding correct? But you got to get your hands on it, I think.
We'll see.
And I don't think there's been any hands-on yet, so
No, I don't think so.
jury's out.
I'll be very curious to see. Because it didn't turn me off the game. It just made me go, maybe this combat isn't going to be like the best feeling Souls-like combat out there. But you can't tell until you're actually feeling it. Do you have controller feedback for the moves? Is that going to help it feel better? But yeah, the audio was a little strange and definitely made me go, maybe I'm gonna simmer down my expectations a little bit. But I do really love what they're doing because in that gameplay as well, they showed that. So you obviously have like regular bonfires, like you do in Souls games, but then you also have the option in the Land of the Dead, where if you come across this kind of flower patch, you can make your own bonfire, but it's like costs a lot of resources and you can only have one active at a time. So I thought that was also interesting that you can kind of balance like, do I want to wait until I can get to the next bonfire? Do I think I'll be okay? Or do I want to spend all these resources to do one right now? And just go in between the different worlds of like, oh, it doesn't look like I can get over this way. What's in the way? And you bring up your lantern and there's like a big creepy monster in the way. So you need to go to the other world to defeat it to be able to pass through.
Yeah. But it's got my attention.
It's got my attention for sure. I will for sure be checking it out. I will be playing it. And hopefully it feels great because I love a lot of what they're doing.
There's a lot of games coming out.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
It's actually
man.
perfectly timed for me. I'm good.
rough-
I'm
Yeah.
chilling.
Forgot to mention Cyberpunk in that list. Oh
I'll be
my
playing
God.
Lies of. I'll play Starfield for like 5 minutes before Lies of P comes out, and then I'm gonna play Lies of P until that's over.
True to form.
I am
And then
trying
That's
not
smart,
to
though.
think about Starfield, like, because I don't want to get like all hyped up and then have it come out and disappoint me. So I'm just trying not to think about it. I just want to like play it when it
Yeah.
comes out. But the more I like hear about it, the more excited I get. I'm hoping.
That's what being a gamer is all about, is getting super hyped for something, and
man,
then
I hate.
just get
hate
excited.
it.
It's fine.
I know that they will deliver on the core, whether or not it will have like bugs and things that need to be worked on, which Bethesda's
Definitely gonna
known
have
for.
bugs.
So we talk about a lot, but like I'm telling you, usually in this situation, it all outshines the problems. You're like, holy cow, this is so cool. But yeah, I had this bug, but you don't care because it's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna play Starfield, and I am looking forward to it. I think I'll enjoy it. Just Lies of P is definitely significantly
Yeah.
higher on my list that I'm excited about.
Yes.
Oh,
Very
also,
core to your
speaking
audience.
of Lies of P, Wolong Fallen Dynasty put out their roadmap. Which if I can find it would be helpful.
Did me finally playing it? Was that on the roadmap? I really do still want to play that game. It's just like, I don't know. Like,
I need to finish. So I didn't finish the main thing yet because that's when I got kind of sick with my back. So then it's like what
yeah.
I had to take some time off, and then another game came out, so we jumped into that game. But yeah, the first DLC is already out. They also have the Naraka Blade Point collab, so you can have like armor from that game in Wolong.
That's cool.
And they are doing a collaboration with Lies of P. So they put
okay,
out
That's
their
fun.
roadmap. Yeah. They put out their roadmap, and it's going to be September is the new DLC with a new weapon type, new story, new mission, new difficulty level, new enemies, new divine beasts, new equipment level, new rarities, new equipment, new endgame content. And then the free update is there's new spells, Lies of P collaboration, and major balance adjustment and stuff like that.
Collaborations.
Yeah.
That's September. Yeah, that's September. And then their final DLC will be out in December. So I need to get caught up because I think December, I don't know if I'll have much to play in December. I don't know. So far, it doesn't really seem like it. Can't tell.
I mean, if you try to
we'll
play
see.
everything good on that list, like plenty to play, but then again,
I do
you are
want
a gamer.
to jump
Watts.
back
You might play it
into
all.
Cyberpunk too. Like when that DLC comes out, I am
Yeah.
planning on checking that out because they've done a lot to that game in the last 2 years,
Yeah.
and I enjoyed the shit out of it, bugs and all,
Yeah.
the first time around. So like I can't
Cool-
wait to play
cool
like a
style
fixed
game.
version plus new content.
On that PS5 Pro, it's gonna look nice.
Oh, I'm sticking with the Xbone version.
Oh, okay, nice.
240p or bust over here. Should we wrap this one
it's
up?
an
Yeah,
exciting
let's
end of the
wrap
year.
it up. Next week, maybe we can talk about the finale of Remnant. I know Paul Tassi was interested in coming on and talking about some Remnant.
Oh, there you
like
go.
that.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
All right, guys. Thank you all for
All right.
joining us. We'll see you on Thursday for DCP, and we'll see you next week for SideQuest. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.